Book of Heaven, Volume 20, November 29th, 1926. How the Supreme Will from Queen acts as servant of the human will, because they do not let it reign. As my usual abandonment in the adorable will continued, all creation made itself present, in which the Supreme Will flowed, dominating and triumphant, as light and as primary life, in the great things just as in the smallest ones. What enchantment! What order, what rare beauty, what harmony among them, because one is the will that dominates them, and flowing in them binds them in such a way that one cannot be without the other. And my sweet Jesus, interrupting my amazement, told me,
"My daughter, my will remained as operating life in each created thing, that it might dominate freely with its full triumph. So it has the operating life of the light and heat of the sun, the operating life of its immensity and of the multiplicity of its works in the heavens, the operating life of its power and of its justice in the sea. In fact, my will is not like the will of the creatures who, even if they want, if they do not have hands, they cannot work. If they do not have feet, they cannot walk. If they are mute or blind, they can neither speak nor see. My will instead does all the acts in one single act. While it operates, it walks. While it is all eyes to look, at the same time it is all voice to speak, and with such eloquence that no one can equal it. It speaks in the roaring of the thunder, in the bolt of lightning, in the whistling of the wind, in the tumultuous waves of the sea, in the little bird that sings. It speaks everywhere, so that everyone may hear its voice, now strong, now sweet, now thundering. Will of mine, how admirable you are! Who can say he has loved the creatures as you have? My very humanity, oh, how it remains behind you! I remain eclipsed in you, and you remain in your operating, which has no beginning, nor does it ever end. You are always at your place, giving life to all created things, in order to bring your life to creatures. Oh, if all knew what it does for them, how much it loves all, how its vital breath gives life to all. Oh, how they would love it, and all would remain there, pressed around my eternal fiat, to receive the life it wants to give them. But do you know, my daughter, why my supreme volition left itself in all created things, dominating and as life, and doing its distinct office in each thing? Because it was to serve itself, its own will, which was to have life and dominion in the creature, for whom it had created all things. It acted like a king who, wanting to form a residence for himself in which to reign and have his dwelling, forms in it many rooms. He puts many lights so that darkness may not reign in it. He puts little fountains of most fresh waters. For his amusement he puts music. He has his residence surrounded by delightful gardens. In some, he puts everything that can render him happy, and that is worthy of his royalty. Now as king, he must have his servants, his ministers, his soldiers. And what happens? These deny the king. And so instead of the king being the one who dominates, the servants, the ministers, the soldiers dominate. What would not be the sorrow of this king in seeing that his works do not serve him, but with injustice they serve his servants, and he himself is forced to act as the servant of his servants, because when a service, a work, serves oneself, one cannot be called servant. Now, my will was to serve itself in the creatures, and therefore it left itself as more than noble queen in all created things, so that nothing might be lacking to its royalty of queen in the creature. There could be no one else who would be able to serve my will worthily, other than my will itself, nor would it have adapted itself to being served by servants, because no one would have had its noble and divine manners in order to serve it. Now, listen to the great sorrow of my supreme will. It is right that you, who are its daughter, know the sorrows of your mother, of your queen, and of she who is your life. In the creation it acts as the servant of servants. It serves the human will, because mine does not reign in the creatures. How hard it is to serve servants, and for many centuries. As the soul withdraws from my will to do her own, she puts my will in servitude in the creation. Therefore its sorrow is great from queen acting as servant, nor is there anyone who can soothe a sorrow so bitter. And if it continues to remain in the creation, serving the servants, it is because it is waiting for its children. It is waiting for the time when its works will serve the children of its eternal fiat, who, letting it reign and dominate within their souls, will let it serve its own nobility. Oh, only these children will soothe a sorrow so long and bitter. They will dry its tears of so many centuries of servitude. They will return to it the rights of its royalty. This is why it is so necessary to make my will known. What it does, what it wants, how it is everything and contains all goods, and its continuous sorrow because they do not let it reign.
After this, my mind remained so compenetrated by the sorrow of the supreme will that as the whole creation kept standing before my mind, to my highest sorrow I could see this noble queen veiled in each created thing, serving all creatures. It acted as servant in the sun, serving them by giving them light and heat. It acted as servant in the water by offering it to their lips to quench their thirst. It acted as servant in the sea to offer them the fish. It acted as servant in the earth by giving them fruits, food of every kind, flowers, and many other things. In sum, I could see it in all things, veiled with sadness, because it was not decorous for it to serve the creatures. On the contrary, it was unbefitting for its nobility of queen to act as servant of ungrateful and perverted creatures, who were using its servitude without even looking at it, without saying a thank you, or remunerating it with any retribution, as is normally done with servants. Who can say what I comprehended about this sorrow of the eternal fiat, so long and intense? But while I was swimming in this sorrow, my adored Jesus came out from within my interior, and pressing me to himself, all tenderness, told me,
My daughter, it is very sorrowful and humiliating for my supreme volition to act as servant of creatures who do not let it reign within them. But it will feel much more glorified and happy in those who will let it reign. Look at it within yourself, how happy it is to serve you. It reigns in you while you write, and it feels honored and happy to serve you by guiding your hand as you write, that you may write on paper the words for it to make itself known. It places its sanctity at your service within your mind, in order to administer to you the ideas, the terms, the most tender examples that regard my supreme will, in order to make its way into the midst of creatures, so as to form its kingdom. It serves your sight in order to let you look at what you write, your mouth to feed you the words, your heart to let it palpitate with its own volition. What difference? It is happy to serve you, because it serves itself. It serves to form its life. It serves the knowledge of itself, its own sanctity. It serves to form its kingdom. My will reigns in you while you pray, and it serves you by making you fly within itself, to let you do its acts, and to let you take possession of its goods. This way of serving of my will is glorious, is triumphant, is dominant, and it would suffer only if the soul did not let herself be served by it completely and in everything.
Thank you for being a part of our community here at Divine Will app. If you enjoy listening to Jesus' lessons on how to live in the divine will, please give this video a thumbs up. Your likes help us reach more souls yearning to live in the kingdom of the divine will. We'd love to hear your thoughts and reflections, so drop a comment below. Your insights not only enrich our community, but also inspire others on their spiritual journey. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. By joining us, you're helping to spread the news of the kingdom of the divine will, so that together we can bring his kingdom to reign on earth as it is in heaven. In the divine will, always.